Hi everyone, it's Dee here at Submit.com, and this is the first of our series of conversations I'm going to be having with some of our clients. And today I am very lucky to have Paul Kelly with me. Hi, Paul.
Hey guys,
Hiya.
hello.
So first things first, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Okay, so I'm Paul. I am the social media and digital producer at COCO, which involves really a lot more than just social media. I look after our social accounts. When shows are on the air, we'll do tweets, we'll put clips out. But it involves a lot more, in terms of casting and running the website, and kind of covers a lot of different areas. Pretty much anything digital is kind of what I cover really. So. I get dragged into a lot of IT stuff as well. So it's a bit of everything really. It's good though. Very involved in all the COCO stuff. So it's
you've got all your fingers and all the pies going on at COCO Content.
Exactly.
I totally understand. I'm from marketing area as well, and you literally have to know what's going on in every single department and what everybody's doing. I heard a great new thing on LinkedIn actually recently is job titles, and so you would be kind of like the marketing wizard, that kind of way. So people are getting a bit more, I think, imaginative when it comes to job titles now, because one name doesn't necessarily say what you do.
Absolutely.
So some guys watching this now may not be familiar with COCO Content or necessarily what you do. But if I was to say first dates, if I was to say, room to improve, there's so many shows that you guys have produced in the past and are currently working on, I know. For you, I suppose, what's been the biggest show or the most involved that you have been involved with?
It has to be first dates, and obviously it's the first one that springs to a lot of people's minds. But for me, anyway, that's been kind of the main show. From my perspective, because it's the perfect demographic really for your social media, your kind of digital media, and obviously room to improve is massive as well. When it's on every Sunday, it's the number one trend on Twitter. People love to look at other people's houses and kind of get a nosy around. So people love Dermot. So it's room to improve as well is massive. Home Rescue, of course, is our other home makeover show, which is sponsored by IKEA, and there's loads of activity around that. But I do think first dates is the key one, because it's such a great show. Everyone loves to kind of get a nosy in on how people are doing on their dates as well. I guess when you think about it, it's all about people being nosy, isn't it, really?
Speaking as a married person of 12 years, on the very rare occasions that I would have gone out for a meal with my husband, you're guaranteed we're eavesdropping on somebody on a date on the next table, because it's way more interesting than what we've got to talk about at this stage.
Absolutely.
So we're all a bit of a voyeur in that sense. And certainly, look, recently you've gotten your first wedding proposal.
Absolutely.
That's really, really lovely to see.
So it's Carla and Shez, a couple who were kind of put together last year, and they when they were kind of matching together, the matchmakers, they knew, they're like, okay, these two are a great match. They, as soon as they seen them, they were like, oh, kind of thanking their lucky stars. They were like, these two are a perfect pair for each other. Just couldn't wait to get them into the restaurant to see how they get on. But it's the thing with first dates is, as much information as we have about them, because obviously there's a lot goes into preparing these dates before they go on, and there's a few different stages of interviews. You don't know what's going to happen when they do go into the restaurant. So they were kind of like, okay, as great as these two are, you never know what's going to happen. So when they did get in, at first it was a little bit, how are we going to do? They were kind of unsure of each other, and then after a few minutes they settled in, and obviously they're engaged now. So Matchmakers, kind of ticked all the boxes on that one. They did a great job on that one.
I suppose, in real life on a first date, everybody's nervous anyway, but then put how many cameras on them, and that has to heighten the stress levels. Absolutely. So fair play to the matchmakers for getting them that far. I suppose that kind of brings us in a little bit to Submit, how you guys use us as a platform, because on average, how many applications would you get for a show like First Dates, for example?
I was just looking actually, just looking yesterday actually how many we have for the current season, and we have over 8,000 applicants already for the current season, which is kind of insane. And it's a lot, it's a lot of people to go to, to kind of, to find, pick out the people who are going to match with each other, things like that. So like, the process itself, it does take quite a while. The show goes to air in February, but it's not filmed until August. But we actually start casting generally around February, March. So it's pretty much half a year of just getting applications in, and then our matchmaking team come in. And kind of the way we do it is because there's so many applicants that come through, we have a kind of team of people who will go through the applicants, read through on the kind of basic level. So we have their kind of top line information. We'll give them a call, ask if they're interested in having a phone call with our casting producers, our matchmakers. So what they'll do is they'll schedule time for our matchmakers to have a chat with them. So they do kind of like their first stage interview based on their screening, exactly. And so what they'll do is they'll probably sit down for maybe 40 minutes to an hour with the matchmakers and chat through. So in COCO, kind of pre-COVID, we just had this office full of matchmakers and people making calls. It was like a call center, and it's just full of energy. And some of the questions you hear people asking, it's kind of hilarious to hear some of those kind of personal questions being asked and stuff like that in the background. But it's because you can only obviously hear one side of the conversation. You're like, what are they? What could they possibly be talking about? But what they're doing is they're obviously just really getting to know they're really getting to know the daters, to trying to find out as much information as possible as they can, because like I said, it takes quite a while to go from when they send their application in first to appearing on screen. There's that initial phone conversation where they get to know them. Then what they'll do is, if they like them, if they think that they could find a match for them, they'll bring them into the Gibson for a in-person on camera interview, which again could be 2 hours long, an hour and a half long. And then at that stage, we have all these 8,000 or so applications, and see if there's someone that they can find a good match for. And then if they think they're going to be a good match, then they bring them into the restaurant in August. So it's a kind of full on process really, but it's great.
Yeah, but it's great to know that look, TV shows take time anyway, and there's a lot of pre-production in that, but it's not just a TV show. You genuinely have the matchmakers there. You're genuinely trying to find a match, and make people happy and find them a partner. So I think that's wonderful. I know in terms of like those 8,000 applicants, in terms of like using a platform like Submit, I suppose before having to physically read every single one of those applications, you've got categories, and we can tag and help you guys create a short list. So hopefully you can kind of filter down those 8,000 maybe to, okay, I've got 500 here that meet all this certain criteria. And then is that what you hand over to the matchmakers to kind of use that smaller pool to go through first? Or is it much wider net that you work with?
At the start, it's very wide. You do kind of, you call as many people who seem interesting or seem as if they could be a potentially good match. And try and get as many phone conversations as possible really is the main thing. Like I've said, it's like a call center. There's this team of people who are calling people all day, every day, pretty much. So they called so many people just to get, a conversation with, so many people to find out what they're like. And then later on, there might be, say, someone who the matchmakers really love. They're like, oh, this is a great character. I really want to find them love. They really deserve to find someone. What we can then do is maybe then kind of dip back in and see if there's, anyone specific to them that might be a good match. So what we can sometimes do is we kind of search specific questions by keywords, whether someone wants someone with tattoos, you can search for tattoos. They might have tattoos in their about me section. And then based on that, you can then tag these people, tattoos. And then kind of start having conversations with them in the hope of being like, oh, this person will hopefully be a match for this person that we love and want to find love for here. So there's lots of different kind of like ways that we work around and find the ways to match people. It's really great to kind of be on the inside of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you can confess, I won't tell anyone. Do you watch the show yourself afterwards? Or
I do, of course.
Are you there tweeting on the couch with everybody else?
I do. So actually, as the social media manager, we prepare
And I
tweets
have to.
to go out. So we'll watch the show and we'll be like, prepare a Twitter schedule for like, this is when the funny moments hit. Be prepared, get the memes in, get the gifs in, stuff like that. So we kind of have a head start. The Twitter is brilliant. The Twitter before these shows, it's so funny. I think a lot of people say like watching the Twitter is almost as good as watching the show on its own.
Absolutely, it's like a live interactive show. Because I'm guilty of doing the same. Actually, you're absolutely right.
They're absolutely hilarious. I don't know how they come up with stuff because, like I said, we'll prepare some tweets in advance and get some key clips out. We're like, this moment could go viral. We'll make sure that that's online, ready to go on Twitter, so that when it goes live, people have somewhere to rewatch it and reshare it. But then there's people who are watching it first time and are just banging out these memes and I'm like, how are you so funny? Like, how they're brilliant though. I love the Twitter. I think the Twitter is one of the best bits just to see, because so much goes into it. From, say, for example, we open applications in February.
Yeah,
it's pretty much a full year since it goes to air. It'll be next year, so we've gone through the whole application stage, the whole year pretty much for preparation, and it finally goes to air, and then just to see people's reactions in real time as they say, these are a great couple, these are these two are hilarious, that was an awkward moment. It's kind of great to see that. So I love the Twitter. That's my favorite part, when it goes to air and I just get to see all the tweets coming in.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the whole experience. I totally agree. There's a lovely sense of community, and everyone is kind of, go on, you can do it, getting behind everyone. I know Twitter can be a strange place at times, but certainly I think for shows like that, everyone does get behind the contestants, the daters. Yeah. So is there anything coming up in the pipeline then? Any new shows or anything that's, I suppose, in the planning stages?
Obviously, for States, we're kind of working on at the moment. We're in the middle of casting for. We'll probably be filming. I think it's August we film, and again, it'll probably be January or February that it goes to air again. We have a new series of Room to Improve in the pipeline as well. So I know that's something that people will be really looking forward to. People love that. Again, that's one to kind of mark down for your. Be sure to log into Twitter. Be sure to be logged into Twitter for that night.
It goes over budget. Yeah,
exactly. And then we have Home Rescue as well, which has been going on for the past few years. And I don't know whether I'm fully allowed to say this or not yet, but it's this year it's gone to an hour, whereas the previous years it was 30 minutes.
Fantastic.
So it'll be even bigger and better this year. Yeah, absolutely. So another one to look forward to.
No, I'm sorry for cutting in. I just think the stories, certainly in terms of Home Rescue, it would be lovely to have a longer time slot to get to know more about the people. Because and I think the more people know, the more invested they become, and I think the more successful the show would be as well. So I think it's really good. Thanks for that little tip.
Absolutely.
And I suppose just to finish up, like, could you imagine having to go through 18,000 applications now, old school, via a Word document? Can you imagine?
No, I don't think it'd be possible. No, it's so great to have, because like when we do go through, we have like their pictures and stuff. And as much as, we do go into depth about the people, like to be able to see pictures and kind of like you do make judgments based on how people look and things like that. And to have their kind of key information, their interests, their bios, their age, stuff like that, pictures, it just makes it so much easier. And the videos as well. It's so much easier to have, to have that stuff at hand and to be able to filter and search and things like that to find people their perfect matches, because there's those people that we just want to find people their perfect matches, and the easier it is, the better. Obviously,
that's it, and that's what we're all about at Submit. It should be very easy and streamlined and as easy as a conversation like we're having now. Exactly. Listen, Paul, thank you so much for meeting up with me and having this chat. And I can't wait for the next season to see what happens. And I'll talk to you again very soon, I hope. Take care.
Absolutely. All right. See you guys on Twitter.
Bye.